Hello everyone and welcome back to another Star Trek, the official Starships collection review. I apologize for the delay and the lateness involved with doing this issue because I've had these two ships for about a month now, especially considering that I just got the newest batch just a couple of days ago. So all that aside, let me jump right into it. Issue 134. The Vulcan survey ship seen on Star Trek Enterprise. And of course, there's a ship and a magazine, so I'll just dive right on into it. So, it is considered a survey ship in use in the 20th century, so that would have been the 20th century, with a crew of only 4 and 24 meters long. And as you can see, an interesting yet almost unflattering view of the ship there on the cover. So now let's look inside. Magazine format is the same as all the others as usual, and more information can be found here, and as well as the stand assembly mounting guide is there as well. It is considered, it was operated by the Vulcan Science Directorate. Again, a survey ship in the 20th century, 24 meters long, crew of 4, and can go as fast as warp 4.5. And this thing was destroyed in 1957. Yep, that's right, 1957. So you turn the page and you have another view of the ship, which is different from the one on the cover, which is always kind of cool, I suppose. This time from the underside, as well as text and information about that, including some of the Vulcan crew there. And more of the images, screen caps from the episode. I think it's called Carbon Creek, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. And there's some more text down there. And you have the plan view showing you where the various components are or whatnot, as well as trivia on the sides there. And now that I think about it, I think this is the episode where it was suggested that Vulcans were responsible for the invention of Velcro, which is a pretty unique and very interesting idea. And it also proves that the Vulcans have visited Earth before first contact in 2063. And here we have a section on the designing of the ship. Of course, designed by none other than John Eves. Got some concept artwork there and text. And here's magazine filler, which is a section on Enterprise's second season. Many fans think it was pretty weak, but there are some pretty good episodes in that season, and I certainly think that Enterprise is way more Star Trek than Star Trek Discovery. But anyway, turn the page, you have more images from season 2, as well as some more a little bit of history about that and the thought processes in various episodes and such. And more on that, more images and text. And finally, the magazine concludes with this on-screen appearance page. I was right. It was actually Carbon Creek, Season 2 of Enterprise, and the ship was designed by John Eves. And so, yeah, pretty cool. And, of course, next time around, I'll show you this bootleg Delta Flyer. And that concludes the magazine with an image on the back there as well. So now, without further ado, let me get to the model itself. All right, and here is the model itself. And as you can see, doesn't look bad. Unlike that ship on Star Trek Discovery, the Vulcan Corvette, which I also reviewed a short while ago, this actually looks more Vulcan. Strangely enough. The coloring seems to be more Vulcan. It just looks cool, I have to admit. Part of the reason why I think I delayed doing this review is because it was just one of those months where you got two okay ships and not great ships, so I confess that I procrastinated. But anyway, this is a nice model. You can see a lot of detail work there, especially up top. Some of it down at the bottom, but not as much as what's up here. Mostly plastic, but you'll have some metal components in there somewhere. I think down here. Fits in your hand about that much. You've got some wings here, and I believe some friends on Facebook pointed out that there's actually an error on this model. I believe somewhere in the stern, this portion is supposed to be like opened up, if I'm not mistaken, but it is not on this model, which is a bummer. But if it hadn't been pointed out, I don't think I would have really noticed, to be honest. Pretty nice paint job. I don't really see any errors there. I don't know if are these supposed to be windows, or are they supposed to simulate the atmospheric entry or re-entry or whatnot as depicted in the episode. The back, you have your engine components, which I'm going to assume are the warp engines. They do have clear orange or plastic parts, which is always good to have, especially for engine components. Although I'm kind of surprised that the engines weren't mounted on these little fins here. It would have been nice to have like small little engines or something there, perhaps. Or maybe do the whole ring around, which is typical of the Vulcan ships and from that era. But then again, this ship is at least 200 years older than the ships that we would mostly see on Star Trek Enterprise. So considering this is from the 20th century and not the 22nd or the 21st. It's a pretty nice model. I don't see any markings on here that say, oh, by the way, this is from the Vulcan Science Directorate. And apparently Subcommander T'Pol at one point in her career served on board this ship, and it crash landed on Earth in the year 1957. And then I guess her and another officer went undercover to try to buy themselves some time until a rescue ship could arrive and rescue them. And in the process, they've inadvertently made a few, shall we say, introductions or introduced humans to certain things that even now that we take for granted. But in a fictional world, they introduced things like Velcro and maybe other things as well. So it was a pretty good episode. And this model is pretty good. Would I recommend you picking this up? I'd have to say it's maybe so-so. And the reason is because this is one of those off-the-wall, random ships that outside of Eagle Moss you would probably never get ever again. And so for the sake of having another Vulcan ship, I would say yes, pick this up. If you're a fan of Star Trek Enterprise, yes, pick this up. Or if you just plain like the design of the ship, the model itself, or the episode that it was featured in, then please pick this up. It's not a bad model. The design is not bad at all. It's just not one of my personal favorites. But it is always nice to get another ship from another alien race outside of the usual Federation, Klingon, Romulan, Borg, etc., etc. And so yeah, it's definitely nice, and it's a nice one to have. It's just personally not one I would have rushed out to the store and spent my money on if I knew of it or saw it. As a subscriber to the collection, you'll get it. Or if you're a completist, you'll get it. But it's not one that I honestly feel that we had to have. And if we didn't get it, I wouldn't have missed it, to be honest. But that's not to say that the design is bad or the actual model itself is bad, because it is not. It's actually very good. I just wish that the level of excellence when it comes to these alien ships would be repeated in some of the hero ships. But to be fair, they've actually gotten better. Hugo Moss, you've actually gotten better. So, yeah, it's a pretty solid model. Pretty good job there, guys. You have any questions about this ship, please send me a comment or leave something down below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Again, it's not bad at all, and I'm not talking bad about the ship or the model. It's just not one that I would have jumped up and down for. But I'm glad that I have it nonetheless, and thank you, Eagle Moss, for making it, and making all of these random, obscure ships for us Star Trek fans who want everything. So that concludes my little blurb, my little review on this Vulcan science survey ship, that is. And now I'm going to close my mouth and show you real quick what this looks like on the stand, in case you were wondering how that is supposed to work. So until next time, live long and prosper, and be safe out there.